Maybe it's late at night, but you can't sleep. You're bored. Or you can't stop a bazillion thoughts from racing through your skull. Or maybe you had too much coffee. Or maybe you're just a little drunk. Whatever the case, I've been there, my friend. I know how it feels to sit there and realize that you're not really living right now. You're just existing. Surely there's something you can do, right? But no matter. No options presented seem like something that feels right. It's definitely not clubbing night. Watching TV or playing video games seem like mind-numbing options, and you've been surfing the net all night and have realized how little satisfaction you're actually getting from that too. Well, good news, because I have a solution. Now, this option might require you to put on pants and walk somewhere, but it's worth it. I guarantee it. There's this building not even a block from where you live. And at any time of night, you'll find the rear entrance unlocked. During the day, the place is locked up tight as a drum, but for some reason, once night falls outside, you'll find that rear entrance is open and waiting. Well, what are you waiting for? Christmas? Get your pants on, put on your shoes, and get your ass down there. Didn't I promise it would be worth it? One thing. You've got to follow my instructions to the letter. To the letter. That's very important. Got that? Okay, good. Are you ready? Then let's go. The building is just up ahead. See it? It's an old office complex that's currently unoccupied. I'm not sure what businesses were once there, but for now it's empty. It's been here for years, and I don't recall a time when there was an actual business open here. Yes, of course I'm sure the rear entrance is locked. Didn't I say that? Let's head around back. Don't worry, I know the lights are off. It's not like this building advertises itself to the general public. Only a select few have ever attempted what you're about to. Stop worrying, okay? You'll be fine. As long as you follow my instructions. There's the entrance. Go on. Try the door. See? It opens, just like I said it would. Now proceed to the first elevator you see. What do you mean it's too dark? Just use your flashlight. You didn't bring a flashlight? Didn't I tell you to? Oh no, my bad. Well, you've started now. You can't turn back. You don't want to know what happens if you ignore me and turn back now. You'll just have to use what light there is from the moon to proceed. Okay, the elevator is 10 paces forward and to the right. This building is 10 floors tall. You will be going to the 11th floor. I'll explain. What you need to do is get in the elevator and immediately press and hold the button for the 10th floor. When it starts to flash, let go of it right away and tap the button for the first floor. Whew. You did a good job there. Now the elevator is proceeding to the 11th floor. If you'd pressed those buttons any differently, you might have wound up on a different floor. And believe me, you don't want that. The elevator doors open on a hallway that leads straight forward to a brightly illuminated exit sign. That is not our path. You run for that exit, and you'll probably never make it there. If you do, you'll find out that that sign lies. Instead, you need to turn to the left and take the first door you see. Wait! Is that really the first door you saw? Were you about to head into it without even realizing it was not the first door you saw? It was the second. The first door you saw was the one your eyes cast upon as you were turning. It's the second doorway on the left, true. But it wasn't the first door you saw after I gave instruction. See what I mean? You have to follow my instructions to the letter. That was the last time. I'm going to warn you that you're choosing wrong. Pay careful attention from now on, or who knows what will happen. Head through the door and sit down immediately. Good job. You apparently understand now. Do as I say. And only as I say. If you hope to get through this with your sanity and or life intact, ignore that cold sweat on your scalp and congratulate yourself that you did not close the door, but instead sat down as soon as I told you. The room before you is black. Blacker than anything you've ever seen. You cannot even see your hand in front of your face. You sit there, perfectly still, not moving a muscle until I say move. Count your heartbeats. When you get to 20, stand up. 1, 2. Remember to count heartbeats, not seconds. There, you got to 20, and you are now standing. Now, announce to the room. That which is darkest is closest. That which is closest is watching. That which is watching is furthest. Did you say it? You didn't hesitate after standing, did you? Did you speak as I told you, or did you wait until you heard them all? If you waited, you're done for. Okay, it looks like they're satisfied. That's good news for you. You may proceed. Take 1 step forward, and then immediately turn right. Walk forward until you come to a door. Open it. Close it immediately. And stand with your back to the room. This room will be as dark as the first. Stop breathing. Hold your breath. And no matter how much it hurts, do not let it out. What is in this room follows the sound of breath. And if it hears any, well, I won't tell you what it'll do to you. If I do, you'll release that breath and bolt for it. Keep holding your breath and count another 20 heartbeats. Now, the breath must really be straining your lungs. I understand that. Stay facing the door, but walk backwards until your back presses against the far wall. Keep that breath held. Walk slowly. Oh, I bet you just can't stand it anymore, can you? You simply must release the breath. I can't stop you. All I can do is remind you that you are not alone in this room, and breathing would be so much worse than simply keeping your breath held. There's the far wall. Without looking, feel for a door handle. Open it. Step through and close it. Now release that breath. Feels good now, doesn't it? You're about a quarter of the way through and you're still alive. And you're still yourself. You're doing quite well so far. The room you are now standing in is not dark, as the others have been. It's lit by a small fire on the far end. A huddled figure is sitting by that fire. Don't turn around. At least, don't do so until you stand straight and announce in a clear voice, Might I share your fire for a moment? Now wait. Count your heartbeats again. If you get to 10 and have heard nothing, hold your breath again and run back through the door you came in through without looking back. There. Was that a soft grunt? Did it come from the figure? Be careful. Think hard about it. If you decide that it was indeed a soft grunt of assent, turn and go to the fire and huddle before it like the figure is. While walking, you likely noticed that there are 5 doors in this room, including the one you came through. Huddle on the opposite side of the fire as the figure, but make sure you huddle yourself in the same position. Never look directly at it. You won't like what you see. Now you may ask it any question you want to, but here's the catch. If it's the wrong question, you will be stuck, huddled in this position while it can get up and leave. Most people ask it which door to take. Good. You're asking him which door to take, and if you listen, he will tell you that it's the right-hand door closest to the one you came in. Don't get up yet. Consider the fact that this figure is not your friend. It doesn't know you and probably doesn't like you very much. Could it have lied? Maybe you should take exactly the opposite door it suggested, or maybe this creature cannot lie and you should just listen to it. No, don't ask me. I truly don't know. One of these doors is the right one, but it's never the same door. You get to choose whether you believe the figure or not. Seems like you've chosen to listen to it. Let's see what happens. Wow. Looks like today's your lucky day. You're doing very well so far. You find yourself in another long hallway. This one is longer and much, much darker. There are 2 doors at the end. If you walk straight to those doors, you will be forced to choose one, and neither is marked. You can feel that presence, can't you? The one that's right behind you. You can feel its breath on your neck. You can sense how close it is. The hairs on your neck prick up. It's going to follow you. If you look around, you will regret it. Don't speak to it. Don't acknowledge it in any way. Just walk. Walk until you hear whispering. If I were you, I would pay attention to that whispering. Not so much what's being said as which door it's coming from. You're hearing it now, aren't you? Yes, just right up there to the right. You stopped as soon as you heard it. You're still listening. You're doing so well. Yes, it's still there. And yes, you still need to ignore it. Turn the door you hear it coming from and walk straight toward it. Place your hand on the knob. Now, here's where things get complicated. On the other side of that door is whatever you're picturing in your head when you turn the knob. So it's important, vital, that you do not think of the thing you fear the most. You know, that thing that sometimes keeps you awake at night because you're certain that if you close your eyes, it will come for you. That creeping feeling you get when you think someone's watching you. That idea or thought that your deepest nightmares try to hide from you. I'm warning you, if you're thinking about it, stop. Don't turn that doorknob until you've cleared it from your mind. Are you still thinking about it? You are, aren't you? The presence behind you is getting closer. You have 3 ways out of this. You can run for the 2 doors at the end and accept whatever fate lies behind. You can let the presence behind you catch you and do whatever it's going to do, or you can stop thinking about your fear right now and open that door. Whatever your choice, you're not bored anymore, are you? Told you it was worth it. First of all, starting out a story with an apology is not ideal, but I am sorry. I'm coming to you in my time of need. I need your help. And all you have to do is listen to the end. Please listen until the end. That's it. That's all I ask. I don't know what to do or where to turn. Please just help me. That's all I ask. My name is Andrea, and I'm a single mother. I don't tell you this like it's some badge of honor, and I'm expecting cookies, milk, and chocolate-covered snowflakes like most of the others in my social circle would. They want your pats on the back and recognition. I just want some of your time. I see motherhood as a burden. Necessary, yes, but still a burden. My son's name is Jess. He's 11. That's 5th grade for the math haters. Jess started the 5th grade this year like any other kid would. There was a little bit of trepidation and lots of excitement. He was a happy-go-lucky sort of kid, full of life and energy. All that changed after he met Stan on Tuesday. Stan was a late addition to Jess's class, a transfer student from another district. Jess's teacher sat Stan next to Jess. When I picked up Jess after school on Tuesday, he told me that Stan was his new best friend. He wasn't acting like himself, though. He was pale and sweaty. I took his temperature, but he wasn't running a fever. I asked about his day, and all he would tell me was that Stan was his new best friend. "Stan's my new best friend," Jess would say. "I know. I can't wait to meet him," I'd say back. "Mom, Stan is great. You should meet him. He's my new best friend. The best in the world." We must have had this conversation 1,000 times that night. When I tucked Jess in bed, he looked up at me with tears in his eyes. He put his little hand in front of his face and wiggled his index finger, telling me to come closer. I bent over him, and he put his hands on either side of his mouth. You know, the little kid way of telling a secret. I turned my head, and he whispered something into my ear that chilled me. At the time, I didn't know why it chilled me, but it did. And he whispered, "You believe me, right, Mom?" I sat back up and looked at him. "Believe you about what, honey?" "Stan," he said. "Stan's my best friend." I nodded and took his temperature once more. Again, he wasn't running a fever. I went to bed, but could not really sleep that night. On Wednesday, when I pulled up to the school to drop Jess off, he got this really weird look on his face, and he told me that he didn't want to go in. "Are you feeling sick?" I asked. "No," he said. He was chewing on his bottom lip like crazy. There was something else I'd never seen him do. "No, I need to go to school." He opened the car door and got out. No goodbye. No I love you. Nothing. He trudged up the front steps of the school with his head down. I let off the brake and turned away to drive to work. A little boy was standing right in front of my car. 2 more seconds, and I would have run him over. The boy was pale, with a mop of blonde hair that was almost white and bright blue eyes. He knocked on the hood of the car twice, waved once, and walked up the stairs of the school. When I picked up Jess after school on Wednesday, he looked a lot better. He was a tiny bit paler than normal, but he seemed happy. He told me all about his day. He told me about dinosaurs and music and math, and then he told me about recess. And then, after math period, we had recess. Mom, you'll never guess what I did at recess. Tell me, I said, smiling to myself as I'm driving. I'm thinking tag, football, keep away, all the things I remember the boys doing at recess when I was that age. Something benign, something normal. I joined a church. I frowned at this. A church? At recess? Jess nodded. The Church of Stan. I thought that it must be some sort of new make-believe game that the kids were playing. What's the Church of Stan? I asked. It's Stan's church, Mom. Jess laughed like I was the silliest person in the world for asking that question. Oh, what do you guys do though? As members? I asked. Lots of stuff. Today though, we just listened to Stan talk. He was saying some funny words, and I got sleepy and dozed off. A bunch of us did. I pulled into the driveway at home and we got out. Oh, was that it? I asked. Things sounded weird for sure, but the kids didn't seem to be doing anything wrong. Stan gave us flyers too. Jess pulled out a crinkled up piece of paper and handed it to me. It was a piece of manila paper with 3 words written in black marker. Church of Stan. Again, weird, but nothing wrong. I just thought the boys were playing make-believe. I was wrong. When I picked Jess up after school yesterday, I could tell that something was very wrong with my little boy. He looked panicked and scared. What's going on, honey? I asked, reaching out to feel his forehead. No fever. We played the soul game today, he said. Jess's head was on a swivel. He couldn't sit still. He kept looking all around as we headed home. The soul game? I asked. Jess nodded and kept looking everywhere at once. Beads of sweat dotted his upper lip. What's the soul game? I asked. Jess shook his head, no, and said nothing. Jess, what's the soul game? I asked. I told him I didn't want to, but he said he wouldn't be my friend anymore if I didn't play. Who wouldn't be your friend? Where were the teachers? Jess started breathing harder but still answered. It happened in the church, he said. Then he whispered, teachers aren't allowed in the church. The Church of Stan? I asked. Jess nodded, and a tear slipped down his cheek. What's the soul game, Jess? I'm your mother. You tell me right now, and I'll take care of everything, I said. I can't tell you, Mom. I can't. The rules are bad. They're so bad. What about Stan? I asked. Will Stan tell me the rules? No! Jess screamed this and scared me half to death. Don't ask him the rules. Please don't, Mom. Please. I pulled into the driveway, scared and confused. Promise me, Mom. Promise me, promise me, promise me, promise me, promise me, please. Jess was bawling now, terrified. I took him into my arms and rocked him. I hadn't rocked him like that since he'd been in kindergarten. He fell asleep in my arms, and I carried him inside. I took him straight to his room and got him ready for bed. He just needs sleep, I kept telling myself. All he needs is sleep. I put him to bed and ate dinner alone. I checked up on him around 9 when I went to bed. He seemed to be sleeping well, so I decided to go to sleep too. I woke up to him screaming at the top of his lungs 18 minutes after midnight last night. I ran to his room, but he wasn't in his bed. I turned on the light, and Jess came flying out of the closet like something was chasing him. He lashed onto my leg and kept screaming. I tried to calm him down and ask what was wrong at the same time. He wasn't making any sense. He kept screaming about the soul game. It was impossible. I kept asking what that was, but he wouldn't tell me. I tried to put him back to bed, but he wouldn't have none of it. Finally, I just took him to my room and he slept in my bed. He fell right to sleep. I was lying on my side watching him, stroking his hair, when he popped open his eyes and stared right into mine. "I'll tell you the rules after school tomorrow, lady," he said. Then he closed his eyes. What was going on with my kid? In the darkness, I stared at the ceiling for a long time before rolling over to my side and staring into the bathroom. You know how when you're on the edge of sleep, sometimes your leg will kick and jerk you awake? Or you'll imagine you're falling or that you just tripped over something and get jerked awake? That happened to me all last night, only I kept being ripped from sleep by seeing something in the doorway to the bathroom. Every time my eyes would start to slip shut, I'd see the dark outline of something large in the doorway and jerk awake. Of course, nothing would be there, and I would start to fall asleep again. The outline would appear in the doorway once more, but it would be closer to me, like it had taken a baby step. Over and over this happened until morning. This morning on the way to school, Jess seemed out of it, lethargic. I felt the same way. I was even more exhausted. I thought of asking Jess about what he'd said right before he fell asleep, but couldn't. I was afraid it would send him into hysterics again, so I left it alone. I drove him to school, and he didn't say a word the whole time. He was acting like a robot, listless, unemotional. I got a call shortly after dropping him off to come and pick him back up. He had vomited in class. When I picked him up, he was the same. I asked him several questions, but he only gave me grunts in response. The plan at home was to get him changed out of his clothes and take him to the doctor. He didn't say anything until we pulled into the driveway. "Can Stan come over today?" he asked. He stared out the windshield at the garage door. "You're not feeling well, honey. Do you really want him to come over?" I asked. I wanted to meet this kid, but it didn't sound like Jess wanted him over. I, however, wanted to get to the bottom of things. "Yes," Jess said. "Okay," I said. "Do you have his parents' number?" "He already asked his parents, and they said it was okay." "We have to wait till he's out of class, and I'd still like to talk to his parents." "Okay." Jess got out of the car and we walked into the house. "You have their number?" I asked as I shut the door. "No," he said. I started to ask him how I was supposed to call them if I didn't have their number, but someone knocked on the door. I was still standing right next to it. I opened the door, and standing on my front step was the pale little boy with the blue eyes and mop of white blonde hair that I'd almost run over on Wednesday. A little girl stood next to him with the same complexion. "Yes?" I asked. "Hi, Driz," the little boy said. "Is Jess home?" The little boy standing on my front porch should not have known that name. It was my nickname from college, created on a drunken night amongst friends, shortened from Drizzy. "No," I said. "That's fine," said the little girl. "My name is Devin. You already know my brother's name." "Stan," I said. The little girl covered her mouth and giggled. Stan smiled and shrugged. It's quite simple. Rule 1. Don't walk past mirrors in the dark. Rule 2. Don't leave any doors open when you go to bed tonight. Ask your son what Rule 3 is, and remember, a creak means you're falling behind. A rustle means you've almost lost when the lights go down. Hopefully, you won't see the dark shadow standing in the corner of the room. Hopefully, you won't hear it breathing as your eyes shut and you begin to drift off. Oh, and if you hear a bang, well, hopefully you never hear a bang. Stan turned and walked away with his sister. I stared after them both and shook my head. I wouldn't play their stupid game. I walked into my house and found Jess sitting at the kitchen table crying. "What's wrong?" I asked. "I heard a bang," he whispered. My mouth went dry. "When does the game end?" I asked. "It doesn't," he whispered. "It never ends." My heart started beating faster. "What's the third rule, Jess?" His face fell, and he sucked in a deep breath. "Rule 3. Knowing all 3 rules makes you a player." My stomach dropped. What happens if you lose? "When it's dark, you'll hear them coming. They like to let you know when they're getting close." "Who?" "Stan and Devin," Jess said. "They'll reach out through the mirrors or open doorways and drag you through." "How do you win?" I asked. "You win if you tell more people the rules to the soul game than the person that told you does." "Sorry, but thanks for helping, really. As for me, I'm going to enjoy my newfound freedom. And I hope you enjoy your night."
You wake up to find yourself lying flat in an unfamiliar and utterly filthy room. Your head pounds as you sit up and survey your surroundings.
Ow. What hit me?
You notice the room is dimly lit by a hanging bulb that threatens to flicker out at any moment. Large piles of debris are scattered about the small room, and there are no windows.
Hey, who said that? Where am I?
To your left, right, and straight ahead of you, there are sinister-looking doors. You do not fully comprehend your situation, but you must choose one of these doors. One door,
Hey, are you ignoring me?
leads to salvation. One leads to an endless maze of halls and passages that will trap you forever. And the third leads to eternal damnation. You must...
Wait, what? Are you serious?
You must choose a door.
Why? The exit's right there.
In the cold, frightened core of your heart, you know there is no escape from the desolate predicament you now find yourself in.
Dude, the door's right there. It even says so. See, exit, right on the front. Big letters, too.
After a moment's struggle, you come to realize the futility of resistance and return once more to the crossroads of passages. There is no way out.
Yeah, 'cause some bastard locked up the exit.
You grumble to yourself as you contemplate.
It was you, wasn't it, jerk?
Contemplate your fate!
Fine, fine. Eeny, meeny, miny, that one.
You say to yourself as you choose the door to your left. Unbeknownst to you is that particular door leads only to misery, death, and destruction of your very soul.
What? Oh, hell no.
A sudden burst of intuitive clarity causes you to leap back away from the door before the door closes behind you, sealing your fate.
It wasn't intuition. You just said.
You must make your choice between the two remaining doors. With a sigh, you go toward the one in the middle.
I know what I'm doing.
You mutter.
I don't need you telling me, prick.
You take a hold of the doorknob to the passage that will lead you to wander the maze for all eternity, oblivious to the fate that will soon befall you. Deathless, mindless, hopeless, your rotting corpse will still walk on long after. You cry once again, leap back from your choice of passage.
Don't get snappy with me. So the one door left is salvation, huh?
You say as you head toward the final door and grasp the handle. The path you have chosen will be long and fraught with peril. You will face unsurmountable bloodthirsty foes and travel farther than the simple realms you think of as life and death. Should you fail, your tattered soul will serve as one of the tortured spectral servants of the Lord of the Underworld.
Wait a minute.
You succeed, you will have all the unimaginable pleasures of this world and the next, though you will be doomed to remain in the underworld as Gwyn's right-hand man.
Hold up, you omniscient lying pack of dog crap. You said one of the doors will get me out of here. Salvation, remember? How is being trapped in the underworld salvation? Get me out.
There is no escape.
Don't give me that. There's always a way out.
There is no. What are you doing? Where did you get that pipe?
It was lying in one of those piles of trash. What does it look like I'm doing? I'm going to bust down the exit.
You can't do that. It's against the rules.
Oh, there's rules now, eh? What happened to your big, scary narrator voice?
There is no escape.
There will be. Just a minute. Just a little. There. Ha! Got it.
You can't.
I just did. Goodbye and good luck, Mr. Scary Voice. I'm going home. Go find another stooge.
Oh, fuck. I'm out of here too. This place gives me the willies.